day 15! It's day 15! Congratulations on making it a week. This is day 15 for Algebra 1, and we're going to do some more factoring. Woohoo! 3v squared minus 27v minus 30. Okay, so we're going to do some more factoring today, and we're going to break out our double parentheses here in just a minute. But first, we're going to factor using GCF. So I need to figure out what the greatest common factor is. So we're going to kind of combine what we've learned in the past couple of days into this lesson. So I'm going to look at what can I factor out of this equation first. Now, I know all of these terms are divisible by 3. We're still using these as A, B, and C, but I can factor a 3 out of each one of those terms. If I factor a 3 out, remember I'm going to put that out here outside my parentheses, and I'm going to take each of these terms and divide them by 3. So if I do that, I'm left with v squared minus 9v minus 10. Okay, so I've just factored a 3 from each one of these terms, divided each one by 3. Okay, that makes my A 1, my B negative 9, and my C negative 10. So I'm going to bust out those good old double parentheses right here, and I'm going to factor what's inside this set of parentheses. I'm going to leave my 3 out here. V squared factors to V on both sides, and then I'm going to look at my C term, and I'm going to think of what factors of negative 10, when I add them together, give me negative 9. So negative 10, well, I could do 1 times a negative 9, or 2 times a negative 5, right? So, whoops. Been a long week. 1 times a negative 10 gives me negative 10. It's getting ahead of myself. So which one of these factors, whenever I add them together, give me negative 5? Well, it's positive 1 and negative 10. Okay? So whenever I factor that out, I get 3 times v plus 1 times v minus 10. And that's my factored form. All right, let's look at another example. I'm still factoring out my greatest common factor. I know that 6 will go into both 6 and 12, but I, might not be sure right off the top of my head if it can go into 144. So I'm going to do 144 divided by 6 and see if it'll go in, and it will. Okay, it'll go in there 24 times, so I know I can factor a 6 out of all 3 terms. So I'm going to factor that out. If I divide these terms by 6, I'm left with m squared plus 2m minus 24. Okay? It's 144 divided by 6 is 24. And then I'm going to break out my double parentheses. M squared, I know factors to just m. And then I'm going to look at factors of 24 that whenever I add them together gives me a positive 2. So factors of negative 24 that whenever I add them together gives me a positive 2. So 1 times a negative 24 would be a factor. 2 times a negative 12. 3 times a negative 8. And 4 times a negative 6. These are all my factors that would, when I multiply them together, would give me negative 24. So I need to look at whenever I add them together, I need a positive 2. And I look down here, and 4 plus a negative 6 gives me a negative 2. So I know that whenever that happens, I need to switch my negative to the other side. I need this to be negative 4 times a positive 6. And whenever I add those together, I get 2. Okay? So up here in my parentheses, I'm going to do negative 4 plus 6. And there's my factored form.